let's do a quick lesson on matrices. A matrix is a way that we organize data. You'll see what I mean. Let's jump right in. We're going to organize the data into a matrix. This matrix represents volunteers at a small church, and we have broken this up based on age range and gender. So the rows should represent the age range, and the columns should represent gender. So let's look at the age ranges. We have teens, 20s and 30s, 40s and 50s, and 60 and over. So there are basically 4 age ranges. So when I begin to organize this data, I'm going to have, 4 rows, because they said rows should represent the age range. So we're going to have teens, and we're going to have 20 to 39, we're going to have 40 to 59, and then we're going to have 60 and up. All right, so there are 4 rows, and I put this great big bracket, and that's a way that we represent a matrix, which again is a way that we organize data. And we are going to have males and females here. And the columns represent the gender. So actually, before I go any further, I'm going to answer number 2. And let's do that. The dimensions of the matrix. The dimensions of a matrix are always going to be listed, and I will write this in green, as rows first, and then columns. And I know you see that little X there that looks like multiplication symbol. And it is, but it's not. So it's like I have 4 rows and 2 columns. So I will call this a 4 by 2 matrix. And we might be tempted to say, oh, that's 4 times 2 is 8. And I hear you, and you're right. We're going to have 8 numbers in here, but the dimensions themselves are a 4 by 2. 4 rows, 2 columns. 4 age ranges, and then males and females. So let's jump in. Teens, males, there are 2 teens that are males, and 1 female teen, and I'm just getting numbers off the chart. So this chart is really handy, but this is another way of organizing the data as well. 20s and 30s. Okay, so people in their 20s and 30s, males, that would be 6. Females is 8. 40s and 50s, there are 10 males and 11 females, and 60 and over, we have 9 males and 7 females. There we go. How many teenagers volunteer at this church? Okay, so here is the deal. Now that they're beginning to ask questions about specific age ranges or men, women, whatever, it's going to be much easier to look at the numbers rather than to look at the chart, and that's why we organized it into a matrix. So in case you haven't caught up on all the grammatical clues so far, matrices, that's plural for matrix. And one more time, a matrix is a way that we organize data. You can see how it's organized right here. How many teenagers volunteer at this church? Well, the teenagers that volunteer at the church would be the 2 plus the 1, so 3. Let's not think too hard. How many men volunteer? Now let's not think too hard. So we're just going to be like 2 plus 6 plus 10 plus 9. So 2 plus 6 is 8 plus 10, that's 18. 18 plus 9, 27. All we're doing is just adding the appropriate numbers. And again, much easier to do it from here than it is to say, well, this plus this, and how many was that? And it's all right there. Let's call this matrix C. What is little c for 2? Okay, it looks like 42. I do need to clarify that just a little bit. The big matrix will be called C, and in the future we're going to be like C equals, and that's a capital letter. A matrix is represented by a capital letter, but a specific individual number, there's a name for it, it's called an element, is represented by a lowercase letter. And this 4 and the 2, and it bugs me that mathematicians don't put commas in here. I feel like they should, but basically this means the 4th row and the 2nd column, and that begs the question, what do you do if you have like 10 rows and 13 columns and you want the 10th row and the 13th column and you have 1013? Like when you have more than 2 digits, what do you do? I don't know, I guess you put a comma then? I'm not sure. But in the meantime, we'll just stick with smaller matrices and not put a comma because that's the convention. What does it represent? So let's go to the 4th row in the 2nd column, and again, don't think too hard. 4th row is not teens, not 20s and 30s, not 40s, 50s, it's 60 and up. Okay, 4th row, 2nd column would be 7, and it is 7 females over 60. So final answer for that is 7, and we also have to tell what it represents. So it's females over 60 that volunteer at this church, or 60 and up. I'll just put 60 plus. That's not a mathematical way of writing it, but we do understand what it means. Okay, and then we get into the same ideas right here. C11, what does it represent? 1st row, 1st column, first row, first column, rows run horizontally, columns run vertically, but we all know that. First row, first column, that would be 2 male teens. So 2 male teens that volunteer. And C12, first row, second column. So first row, second column is 1 female teen. 1 female, almost misspelled that. Female teen that volunteers.